Your current research is in astrophysics. What are you looking for?
Well, right now I'm watching stars, and I have a system, an interferometer it's called, involving three telescopes. I move the telescopes various distances apart, use the light coming from a star to two telescopes, and I join it, and that allows me to get very high resolution, see very small angles, very, very small objects. So I can measure the sizes of stars and measure their shapes and measure the variation of intensity over the surface of the star. And I'm watching the stars change. I'm not only measuring the size, they change in size, and they're not all round. When they blow off material, I can see them blowing off material. I'm watching this material expand and watching what it's doing and so on, as well as how the stars are changing. Some of these stars oscillate, get bigger and smaller and bigger and smaller in 1 or 2 years' time. They swell up about 25% and then condense and collapse back down again, and then swell up again. And I measured that for the first time. So I'm watching the behavior of stars, looking at them in detail and seeing just what they're like and what they're doing.
Why are you so interested in stars?
Well, characteristically, I do things that I feel other people haven't been able to do. I try to do things that are new, other people haven't been able to do. And I thought I saw a way of using lasers to do this interferometry, a way nobody had thought of before. And so I went into that. Now that's frequently what I've done. After people got very busy with lasers, I left the laser field in a sense. I use lasers for research, but I don't try to work on developing lasers themselves. And I almost always move on after some few years into something else. By now, quite a lot of people are doing interferometry, but when I started, there weren't many people doing it, and lasers now have made interferometry quite practical and possible. But I'm using it still a little differently from anybody else. I'm using lasers for what's known as heterodyne detection. This is the kind of detection one uses in radio waves, but I'm using it in the infrared, heterodyne detection. And that allows me to get very narrow bandwidths and look at very narrow bandwidth, very narrow range of frequencies and measure stars in this narrow range of frequencies, which is helpful because with a narrow range of frequencies I can look through the gas and see the solid star, or I can look at the gas itself and not the star, one or the other, depending on how I tune the frequency. However, I think in a few years I would stop and want to go and do something different. If other people are doing it, well then I'd rather go on and try to do something new.
Do you think the public is interested in astronomy?
Oh yes. I think the public generally is very interested in it. It's a fascinating field. And fascinates people, and after we found the Big Bang, I'm very proud that one of my former students discovered the Big Bang. And I'm very pleased about that. And that really changes our viewpoint of life, you know. The universe had a beginning of all things. Even Einstein didn't think it could have a beginning, and that was crazy. He said, no, it can't have a beginning. Well, it had a beginning. That shed some light on our philosophy of, you know, what's this universe all about? How and why did it begin? And we discovered there's a lot of matter in the universe. We don't know what in the world it is, too. What matter we know is only a small fraction of the total matter in the universe. So it's a challenging field, and I think it interests lots of people. What do you think? Don't you think it does?
Yes.
How did your student find the reverberation waves of the Big Bang?
How did he find the Big Bang?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a student named Arno Penzias, and he was working with me, and I was looking for gas in space, particularly molecules and atoms. And we found some of the first molecules in space, and many astronomers didn't think they could be up there, but we found them. Now there's lots of them we found. I wanted him to look for hydrogen gas at a particular frequency, and using a maser amplifier, which is the most sensitive amplifier we have, and I thought maybe he'd have a chance of finding hydrogen gas, and he looked. He didn't find it, but he did some nice work. He did his thesis, and he moved on to Bell Laboratories, and he kept looking. He never found hydrogen gas, but he found there was some radio waves up there coming in that nobody had ever seen before, because he had a very sensitive amplifier. You would detect something that nobody ever seen before. Oh, there was radio, and what in the world were they? And people figured out it has to have been due to the Big Bang. The big initial explosion of the universe had left this ionized gas up there and was making the radio waves. So he and another person named Wilson, who was working with him at Bell Labs, they discovered it. And that was a momentous discovery, of course.
Yes. You are a member of an organization named Jason.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what you...
Well, I was asked to go to Washington back in 1959 to be Vice President Director of Research of an organization, a group of university presidents had organized to try to help advise the government on technology, especially the military, but the government in general, try to advise the government, get expert scientists to advise the government. And they wanted to form this group, and they asked me to help form, asked me to come and advise them, so I did. Now, they didn't have the idea of Jason's, but some of my friends were getting together to study government problems, and so we got them organized and brought them into this company, and we got a lot of famous scientists, particularly physicists, university people, they were all university people initially, and to come and advise the government. Just did it part-time. They would come in, they would meet, maybe stay for meetings for a week and discuss things, look at things, and go home, study them some more, and make reports as to what the government should do about science and technology. And when they got going, they wanted to call themselves Jasons. Just a name they picked out because they thought Jason was a great explorer and interesting. So that was the Jason Group, and it's still very active. I don't work with it very much. I attend their meetings some, but not a lot now, because I'm getting older, and we've got a lot of good young people who are doing excellent work there, and I think it's been a very important group. Working for and advising the government on a part-time basis and independently, because they're most of them are university professors. If the government doesn't like what they're saying, wants not give them a job, or okay, that's all right, they've got a job, you see. So they can be very independent, advise the government without any political pressure. And the government knows better than try to put any political pressure on them to make the decisions in the way the government wants it to go. So they give them very objective advice, which is important.